Welcome you all to Technobase Rotomolding Tech Talk. This is a virtual event series that we organize on regular basis, focus on the developments in the rotomolding. And today, the session is focusing on the Roto Leaders with Tom Innes. This is the second episode, and it's a conversation with Madam Claudia Persico. She's the Vice President of the Persico Group. I would say amazing person with a well experience in the rotomolding industry. It's a great opportunity to have a conversation with her, and Tom is leading this conversation. Before I let them to start this session, let me quickly introduce to you that our corporate sponsor is Rising Sun Rotomolding Machinery, and also quickly introduce to you about Technobase. Technobase, what we are doing and what we are offering for the rotomolding industry. Technobase is based in Thailand, established in 2005, almost 20 years ago. And we offer services for the polymer industry with a focus on the rubber, plastics, and polyurethane. Rotomolding is one of the specialist area that we focused for the in terms of plastic industry. Our services include exhibitions, conferences, virtual events, and various business services, and also education. Today's program is somewhat an education session. My conversation with well experienced Roto leader, Madam Claudia Persico, and we recognize as a specialist service provider for the global rotomolding industry. I quickly introduce to you about what kind of activities we do. Tech Talk is one of our popular program, which is subscribed by the 1,800 people from across the world, and they join on a regular basis. Some on live, and some just join on the recorded session. We have developed a rotomolding digital library, which is one of the useful education platform for the global rotomolding professionals. Currently, there are close to 140 topics contributed by the 70 plus specialists from the different parts of the world. And we do organize an exhibition called Rotomolding Trade Expo with the focus on Asia, which we are organizing the next edition in March 2027. And another one is a Middle East version, which we're organizing in 2027 November, and in Sharjah, as a focus on the Middle East region. So this is one of our exhibitions that we organize on a regular basis. We're also introducing Holoplast conference in Paris next year. Details will be announced very soon. This one is focused on the not just on rotomolding, but also on the thermoforming, blow molding, other processes related to the hollow plastic products. And we have a rotomolding marketing service that we offer, Roto Plus. Many companies are using our service to promote their business and branding purposes. It's called Roto Plus. That's briefly and what we do for the rotomolding industry. We offer a trade exhibitions, conferences, training programs, virtual events, newsletter, roadshow, publication, digital marketing, and also it is the technical and business consulting. And so if you need more information about Technobase, please do write an email to me, and we can help you out with all the necessary information. Today, the session is all about Madam Claudia Persico. Our host is Mr. Tom Innes. Tom, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pera. Thank you to all of our participants. Thank you to our sponsors. And a great big grazie mille to our guest, Claudia Persico, which in addition, as I understand, Claudia, to your role of Vice President with Persico, you are also the Director of the Rotational Molding Division, is that correct?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, we are really excited to have you today, Claudia. I've had the pleasure and privilege of having known Claudia, both personally and professionally, for many years, almost as long as I've been in the industry, which is more than 25 years. Have gained a lot of respect for Claudia, for her company, and for what you and your company have done for our industry. So we will jump into the session with a series of questions. Really, we want to gain as much of your insight, Claudia, personal, professional, in terms of your philosophy of leadership, in terms of your perceptions of the rotational molding market, trends in the industry, where you see things going. And again, it's really a pleasure and privilege to have you today. So to start off with, Claudia, if you wouldn't mind, could you please provide a general overview of Persico, SPA, where you're located, the number of years in business, your role with the business, the size of the company, your capabilities, things like that. And we'll get started that way.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tom. So just a quick overview about the Persico Group. So my father, Persico Pierino, is still our president and leader inside the company. Here in Italy, from our president, he got the name of a Cavaliere del Lavoro. That is a very, very high recognition. And I'm personally very proud of him, and I can talk on behalf of all Persico team, because my father, he started in 1976 the company from zero. I was 2 years old. My sister, she was born in 1976, and I have a brother 9 years younger than me. So my father from zero, without any money, because both my grandparents, they were working in production, so not lots of money, so they cannot support him. He was working during the day and study in the evening in a high school engineering. So a big effort. And I can say also close to my father, there was a very strong and another leader in house, my mother. And I'm very proud of say, because on the back of a big leader, there is always a good support from my mother, that she was managing and helping me every day. So it started as a mold maker. So, and he still love when you talk about the different type of wood, it still has, for him, it's still the best he can see all over the world. But anyway, step after step, nowadays, Persico Group, we start as a mold maker, local mold maker. We are located in close to Milan, Bergamo. It's 1 hour from Milan, north of Italy. And nowadays, we can define Persico as a global engineering and automation group. So from zero, nowadays the company is more or less, we will close this year 250 million euro. We have 350 employees all over the world. So we have one company in China, in Dongguan, two facilities in Germany, 2 in US, one focus specific in rotomolding in Minnesota, and one in Michigan, more focused on automotive. And then we have also another company in Mexico, in Puebla. So our core business, we have more than one division, but in all our business units that I will describe after, we produce molds and equipment. So we do not make any part, and we support from the customer from the co-design. I cannot say from the idea, because generally we receive the 3D file from the customer, but we support in each single business unit in terms of co-design up to the prototype parts. So each single business unit has inside a technical office for the co-design, a sales, of course, sales office, but also an R&D department focused on the specific technology. So we can test material working together with the customer and make also some prototype parts. Basically right now we have 5 business units inside Persico. One is a rotomolding business unit. One is compression technology that is focused on automotive for interior parts. Then we have a machinery department that is, I can say, it's the only business unit that works together with all, support all the business units in terms of machinery and digitalization of our equipment. And then we have aerospace and marine and medical business unit. I don't know if I give you, Tom, a picture, or you want me to enter more in the detail of the description of the company. I know we still have many other topics to talk about, so I don't know if it's enough or you need more detail. Let me know.
Thank you, Claudia. That's a fantastic overview of the business. And I'm curious, growing up in the household with your father, obviously your mother too, but your father as a mold maker, was it always assumed either by your parents and by you that you would someday be a part of the business? Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior to joining the Persico organization?
To be honest, it came naturally. When I was young, my father, because my father is very technical, but is also customer driven, customer oriented. So we used to have quite often customer at home. So I can say that most of my dinner and lunch, we were talking about molds and equipment, and so it was quite familiar to me. But to be honest, when I was in university, I was studying marketing and economy, so I was not really focused and thinking about my future in Persico. Then when I finish university, I have to produce a thesis, and I decided to make the thesis on Persico and especially on rotomolding technology. So I start to enter, but I remember I was asking many silly questions, and all around me, especially in Persico, was very small at that time. It was in 1998 when I finished my university, and I was, to be honest, I was dealing especially with the Italian rotomolder, because in the past there was the name was different. Now the name is ITRO. In the past was IZR, and my father, they used to change the president, and in the period I was finishing my university, my father was the president in the Italian Rotational Association. So I had the opportunity to enter in touch with many rotomolder, local Italian rotomolder, like Rototec, Oreste Cornero, LAP, Rizzetti, Cornaglia, many very visionary entrepreneur. So I was very lucky, but I didn't know at the time. And honestly, I was thinking my father, he was involving me in the meeting, and I was thinking, why I should spend my time talking about plastic, color parts. Anyway, it was a good way to start to enter in touch with rotomolding. Sure. Then I have, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Perfectly.
Then I had the opportunity, this is honestly something very visionary from both sides, the opportunity to go and spend 3 months working, I cannot say working because they made to my father a favor. I was in Wheeler Boys, and so it was one of our main competitors in US. And honestly, if I'm thinking about what my father and Bad Boys did to allow me to enter in their company, have a chance to see everything, spending lots of time in marketing with Julie, it was amazing. I'm honestly, now looking back, I was so lucky. I can say I was so lucky, and so I started to spend time, and honestly, US at the time they were very for us. It's still like that for us. US market is always a leader in terms of innovation. So I had the opportunity to see and to learn lots of different habits that we didn't have in Persico. But in the meantime, when I came back, I also had a chance to give value to what my father was doing inside rotomolding, to pass from, for instance, from cast aluminum molds to a sea aluminum mold, so to invest in milling machine, to introduce the first high 3D different software to produce the molds, and so on. So this is a characteristic, a DNA of Persico, to be focused on first challenge, innovation, and I can say could be good or bad, and my father passed me with this characteristic. I'm never satisfied, so we always want to improve, always challenge ourselves first, and then also by entering touch to the customer. Sometimes we challenge. A challenge maybe it's not the right word, but try to give the right solution. Try to find the way to support the customer with innovation in rotomolding and also in the other business units.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think, Claudia, you and I joined the industry at about the same time. And I was working for another mold builder at the same time. The company I was with, we actually had a licensing agreement with Persico, where Persico was licensing the casting or the foundry technology, and then producing and selling molds using that process. But it sounds like the visit that you made with Wheeler Boyce, I don't want to necessarily connect these dots. Maybe you can talk about this, but it sounds like that might have been a catalyst for Persico to think sort of beyond the state of the art as far as mold building technology. Because at that time, cast aluminum tools really dominated the scene, if you will, and were considered sort of the highest level of technology. But I do know Wheeler Boyce was sort of on the cutting edge of CNC machine tools. So was that, are those things connected? Was there sort of an inflection point after your visit there that drove you to really focus more on higher tech CNC machine tools produced by Persico?
I personally believe that just a coincidence, because honestly, my father he always since the beginning challenge and try to introduce inside Persico innovation, new technology. That's why also now we have in the market not only molds, Persico molds, but also machine, and we like to talk about the process, a turnkey solution. So I can say that, and honestly, I personally believe that in rotomolding, in terms of automation, digitalization, there are, and also talking about the potential application of this technology. It's so huge. So we have lots of opportunity. We just need to work together as a team, as we are doing. Because I can say this is another. I can say I'm very lucky because I can see the comparison between automotive world, that honestly, sorry if I say that, it looks like to be in a sea full of sharks. It's very tough. It's all about price, and you are a number. And generally, you are dealing with a multi-international company, and you are a number, and there is a big turnover, so you cannot even create a relationship. And honestly, in rotomolding, I found a world amazing in terms of how, even between competitors, I cannot say we support each other, but it's more human. And honestly, the different association, but also the ARMO association, is a good way to work together and to create a clear strategy all together. So I don't know if I passed the message, but I really believe in rotomolding, not even Persico, but all the players inside the market. We all have lots of opportunity if we find the way to be connected, and also if we find a way to go out of the comfort zone and to be able to go out of the box, thinking different. We just need to do this click, and I'm pretty sure we can approach a different market. Like for instance, in Persico, right now we are starting to enter in touch even with aerospace. That is something that in the past we was thinking it's quite far away from rotomolding, but because thanks to the raw material supplier, nowadays we are not talking only about polyethylene, but also PEEK, but also other material that honestly are used to be very difficult to be rotomolded, and nowadays they open more opportunity. And all of us, we should be more oriented and push hard in order to present and introduce rotomolding also for different and new applications.
Thank you, Claudia. You know, from an outsider's perspective, one looks at Persico as a company that, as you described it, is always pushing the envelope, is always thinking outside of the box. First, with your adoption of CNC machine tooling to have a more dimensionally precise outcome for a process that was historically known as very loose tolerances and very little control of dimensions, to now the Leonardo and smart machines, which have redefined the possibilities, have taken a great deal of manual labor out of the manufacturing process and have introduced automation into rotational molding. So can you tell me a little bit about the process internally at Persico, where you started with an idea that then became the Leonardo machine and also the smart machine? What did that process look like in terms of, you start with an idea and you end with this amazing technology advance?
To be honest, sorry if I say again, but I'm so lucky because we have a business unit is the automation, and thanks to automotive, introduce into our machine lots of innovation. And thanks to this experience, we are able to introduce the same concept on rotational machine. So we have many engineering, and we have a big engineering department, and they all work very focused every day regarding topic in terms of automation, in terms of digitalization. And these two words now, even in rotomolding business unit, become more familiar and common. Every week we have 2 meetings with our business unit in automation, and we do a brainstorming, working together, try to find, to think, as you say, out of the box, and try to find different solution, different way to starting from an inquiry we receive from the customer, but try to think different. What we can offer to the customer that allow the customer to have a saving in terms of raw material, in terms of productivity, and so on, in accordance with what the customer really needs. So I can say the cross-fertilization between our business unit make us always thinking out of the box. Moreover, the president is the first one that he push every day, so everybody has to move and think different constantly.
That's fantastic. So you're almost able to apply an automotive focused mindset to the rotational molding division, or at least tap into that internal expertise to drive the rotomolding industry forward.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic. Did you, when you first started to promote the Leonardo machine was the first semi-automated or automated rotomolding machine, I want to say in the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006. In addition to the very positive reception that you received, was there any resistance? Was there any sort of pushback, like, oh, that won't work, we can't do that, this is what a rotomolding machine looks like? Can you tell me a little bit about maybe some of the resistance that you received? Maybe you didn't, but it's my perception that our industry, just like many industries, they're resistant to change. Change is hard. There's an established mindset. We've always kind of done it this way. What type of resistance, if any, did you receive when you first started to talk about automation?
Yeah, honestly, it was very hard, but to be honest, I can say it's still very hard. So one of the characteristics, especially our sales, but I can say all our employees should have is the resilience. So you need to keep going, keep repeating the same message constantly. So if you don't have this characteristic and you give up, you lose. And you cannot work in Persico, because if you if you want to introduce something new into the market, and I always say that even with our engineering department, they came and they present in 1 minute the innovation to our sales department, and they expect that the sales they go and they promote, for instance, the IoT in rotomolding. You cannot expect that, I use the example between our automation and our sales, is the same situation between our sales and the rotomolder. So we cannot expect that the market react immediately like, wow, Persico is right with automation and everything is working. No, we need to understand the benefit that the customer can have. So we need to be solution provider and try not just to offer you an automation, but the customer should understand the benefit that they can obtain. So also in terms of saving in terms of raw materials, saving in terms of energy, saving in terms of labor cost, and so on. That means time, require lots of time, require to be able to have, first of all, the customer should trust you, because if I do not trust you, it's very difficult to create this partnership. On the other side, they should be but if you want to have a good relation from the other side, the transparency in terms of data, it's a must. But honestly, the difficulty, especially when we launched into the market Leonardo, was the rotomolder. They were transparency. The problem is that they were not able to measure, for instance, the consumption in terms of energy of the single rotational machine. They give us an average of everything. Yeah, but if I want to make a comparison between a Leonardo or a smart machine and a specific, I don't know, carousel brand X, you need to be more specific. But honestly, when we started to introduce automation, even the rotomolder, they used to measure everything average. Nowadays, they change quite a lot, but at the beginning, it was very difficult because you want to make a comparison, but it was peer to Apple. So not easy at all. So even now, but the problem started in Persico. First of all, our sales, they should be able to understand deeply what the customer really wants, because we cannot offer a standard automation for everybody. Each single rotomolder has different needs, and we need to be, I push a lot, I stress a lot over our team, because we need to be like I cannot use the word, but just to make more clear, I use a funny word like a psychologist that tried, or a doctor that try to understand what's the problem, so I can give you the specific medicine in accordance with what you really need, not something, a general antibiotic for everybody.
Well, you use the word trust, that if you focus on delivering a solution to the customer, if you understand the customer's business, their needs, the challenges that they're facing, that the result there is you have established some trust. Let me segue, if I can, to the recent Association of Rotational Molders conference that was held in Dallas, where I think for the second year in a row, Persico was named Supplier of the Year. Can you connect the word trust with winning that award? No,
honestly, it was amazing. I did not expect, and And it was even clear about also how I was dressed, because it was so cold. I'm not used to it. Here in Italy, we don't have air conditioner, and in Dallas, I was expecting very warm, and so I was dressed not like to receive an award. And it was a very great surprise for all of us. Also because, you know, Trump, because of the tariffs and so on, I thought for the RotoLeader, Persico was becoming a problem. So honestly, it was amazing, and I was very surprised. But I can tell you that another time I'm so lucky, because in Persico I have very good people I can trust 100%. Regarding, for instance, U.S. markets, Sergio, Jeff, Chris, Rick, and so on, are one thing that is very important to me, and it comes from my father, but I think it's quite common in Persico. It's to select person that they have the same value. And for me, family, so even Persico, even Rotomolding is a family for me. And second or same level, trust and transparency are words that they have a meaning much higher compared to automation and digitalization and blah 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 and so on. Trust first.
And you mentioned earlier, sorry, please continue.
No, I say trust and honesty are some value that sometimes I can see that even people look at me, they can read on my face, and honestly, even when I have a chance to move from one office to the other, sometimes they anticipate me with an answer. They already know what I want to ask, but that means that I'm an open book, and I need to find in front of me people that are they have the same approach. Otherwise, we spend lots of time, lots of energy, and it doesn't make sense. So if you want to be all successful, trust and transparency should be a word that everybody introducing the company like a value. But honestly, I can see in Rotomolding it's quite common. It's not only, we are not so unique. I'm lucky.
You also mentioned earlier some words to the effect of, if you don't have that sense of drive and ambition and determination and tenacity, that you won't be very successful at Persico. So I'm wondering, I'm just curious, where does that come from? Does that come from your mother as much as your father potentially, or?
Come from my father. My father is 78 and he's still climbing high mountain, Dolomite. But I give you an example, just but it's true. And he never give up. Is very ambitious. Maybe ambitious can read in a wrong way, but if you challenge yourself to improve in terms of education, in terms of and if you also never think is the best all over the world, so he always encourage us to see our limit and to understand what we can do, how we can work on our limit in order to become better day after day. So as I say before, automatization, digitalization are something important, but the best lesson I got from my father is never give up and try to read and find different solutions. And another message he always passed me, be focused, be close to the customer, be close to your employees. Don't this is something that nowadays is quite common, especially unfortunately or also fortunately after COVID, we use quite a lot smart working, but it become a relation not in some time it could save time, but sometimes, like in Dallas, it's so good to have a chance to hug, to meet each other and talk face to face. So it's still a value also of a relationship face to face.
One more question, maybe of a somewhat not personal nature, but in an industry that has historically been dominated by men, and manufacturing, it could be said of manufacturing, but rotational molding most definitely has been historically dominated by men. Can you talk about any challenges that you faced, you know, being a woman in an industry dominated by men, and, you know, sort of what potential challenges, opportunities that has presented to you throughout your career?
Yeah, to be honest, at the beginning it was not so easy, especially because nowadays I have all around me a new generation, and before there was the senior. We start with my father, so they were looking at me like thinking, where she thinks she can go. This one with the marketing and economy degrees, I can see. And so, but because I really never give up, and I like to improve myself day after day. I can say I started to create a good environment, and I use a strong word because I'm not, but in terms of leadership, my type of way to lead people is not top down, but teams. In the end, I have to decide, but I like to have a vision and share with everybody and commit everybody in where we have to go, rather than say you have to do that and I measure you on a result. And I would like to add another point regarding women in rotomolding. I personally believe that unfortunately there are not so many women in rotomolding, but I can say that all the women I can see in rotomolding are there because of meritocracy, not because and this is what even in the other business unit in Persico for me is important, is not a gender gap because I'm a woman, so I need to enter in a board or something similar. No, but it's important that if someone has the right skill and the right type of value, she could be woman or man, doesn't matter. We all can work together. And honestly, I can say that we are sometimes we can be also complementary. So to have a mix, generally speaking, between men and women could be a good way to have 1 + 1 = 3.
Thank you for sharing that. Kind of shifting gears a little bit. Obviously, Persico is a European headquartered company. You've been very successful expanding your markets to really a global audience. Specifically, when you look at the European rotational molding market compared to the North American market, can you share some perceptions about the differences between the two?
Yeah, of course. I can say, first of all, in terms of production, in terms of number of parts per year, US market is huge. So when we talk about automatization, it's a topic that it's more attractive in US rather than in Europe. First of all, because of the number in terms of but on the other side, European market is, especially Italian market, you know, we start with fashion, also automotive, if you think about Ferrari, but even in Europe, BMW, Porsche, and so on, we have high quality premium brands. So we are obliged to be focused on quality, extreme quality, and this is a good way to learn and to suggest also to US market that they are also focused on quality, but the level that European market is asking is still quite high. But from the other side, and also, you know, European market now it's very focused on sustainability. And I don't know if it's because of Trump or I don't know why, but the US market it changed in the last year. So we can see less sensibility regarding the topic of not, I cannot say generally speaking, depends of which type of application, but because of the European regulation in especially also carbon footprint and so on, I can say even it's too much in Europe, it's too much, because on the back of this sustainability that I totally agree, but they accelerate too much the time. And by consequence, we produce lots of paper and documentation, but in the end, the situation is still the same. So, you know, even with hydrogen, the European community, and we produce also smart HO, and there was lots of funding in Europe. So many customer and potential customer, they approach hydrogen. But in the end, if you have, for instance, a truck or a car in Europe, or if there is one possibility to refuel your hydrogen tank in Trentino and another one in the north of Germany, but how you can drive. So in the end, they produce lots of regulation in Europe. They accelerate the change into the market, but they didn't give enough time to the company to have a chance to change. And in US, on the other side, I can see you are approaching, I can say, rather than hydrogen, more than natural gas. It made more sense, to be honest. So I can see US market more pragmatic rather than European, but it's a consequence because in Europe, our European Commission, they oblige us to follow this type of rules, and by consequence, we have to go in this way.
Okay, right. You know, speaking from somebody who operates a business in the United States, it's my perception that the product design community, so people, professionals who are responsible for developing design, industrial designers, design engineers, that their understanding and consequently their utilization of rotational molding is very limited compared to things like injection molding or even blow molding, and in some cases thermoforming. So it's a challenge to influence those upcoming product designers to utilize rotational molding. Do you face the same challenge in the European market? And if so, you know, what are your ideas, suggestions, or even your initiatives at Persico to help to influence product designers to adapt to the process of rotational molding?
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's very important to enter in touch with university, but also so create some, for instance, internship where the student can spend time inside the company in order to understand more of the technology. But on the other side, we go quite often to have some to teach inside university. Moreover, we introduce into the market recently, we will launch, I don't know if they already launched or
Claudia, are you still there? Pat, I think we may have lost connection with Claudia.
It's like her screen got freeze. Right? Second.
Did we lose connection?
She's connected.
Sorry to our participants. We seem to have encountered some technical challenges here. I think Pat is working behind the scenes to see if we can get Claudia back. Can everybody hear me?
Hang on, Tom. Let me.
Okay, you can hear me, right, Pat?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you. Just
It's Claudia. Okay.
I will reach out to Tanya to check it out.
Okay.
Okay, there is some electrical connectivity problem. Please stand by, guys. She'll be in a minute online. Tom, she'll be joining soon. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe Tom, you may kind of review the conversation, what happened so far between, with you and her. So
Sure.
kind of recap. Yeah.
No, I think it's been a fascinating discussion in terms of gaining insight into Claudia's her career, the challenges, but also the great opportunities of joining a family business.
Sorry, I don't know the problem with the computer. Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you. Sorry.
No, welcome back. Welcome back, Claudia. Thank you. Thank you for coming back.
I like to be original. Creative.
People will not forget this session, right? Well, we were talking a little bit about trying to, I'll just rephrase it a little bit, because I've been involved in this myself, Claudia, as you probably know, in terms of building that bridge between upcoming product designers and the rotational molding industry. And so you had mentioned, obviously outreach to universities and things like that. Are you at Persico or through any sort of industry organizations making any specific or undertaking any specific initiatives to connect rotomolding with designing?
To be honest, even in the past, we used to arrange every year a webinar with the designer, not only from Italy, but from European market. Then we saw at a certain point the designer started to be more attractive regarding our technology. So we decided to approach the university and the engineering and architecture university here in Milan. So we create, I can say, a relationship with them. On the other side, sorry, in the end I interrupted the conversation, but we are launching into the market a smart machine. The name is Smart Lab. It's a small smart machine for university R&D department, and we're going to launch very soon a webinar, and we launch onto the market with a special offer, special price, because we want to encourage university and and R&D department to, first of all, to enter in touch with rotomolding technology. And second, try to test not only polyethylene, but try to introduce into the market new technology. Moreover, we offer the possibility to have our process manager to go and take some lesson so that they can learn how to use the machine, but also what is rotomolding technology. Because in university, I don't know US, but in Italy, if you ask to an engineer that he do not work in Persico, what is rotomolding, they don't know a lot about the technology. So my personal advice is that we should all try to do this type of things, because if in each single country we approach the university with the same way, try to promote the technology, try to spend some time in the high school and university, of course, technical or architecture or engineering university and high school, we can start to introduce the knowledge of rotomolding technology, and people and young students, they become more familiar with such a lovely and creative world.
So in the few minutes that we have, just a couple more questions. And one would be kind of taking what you've just shared and also considering Persico's development of Leonardo and smart machines. Do you foresee continued adoption of these technologies, i.e. more automation and more process control? So let me provide a little bit more perspective. I think it can be argued that one of the things that has inhibited the growth of rotomolding is sort of status quo, is these huge machines with 3 and 4 arms and different molds attached to the arms, and there's a lot that happens that we don't really understand in terms of the process, and you sort of learn through doing how to control it. When you compare that sort of status quo of rotomolding to a smart machine, there's a lot of control over the process. You have direct control over heating and cooling and process time, and you have less sort of manual interface and therefore fewer opportunities for mistakes to be made. Do you see the industry continuing to move in that direction? And how will Persico sort of continue to evolve in that sort of reality? Does that make sense, Claudia?
Yeah, makes sense. And we are working on some other project inside company, and I hope next year we will come out with different solutions that are more close to the traditional machine, in order to be able to support customer that, for instance, they produce simple part in rotomolding, in polyethylene, sorry, but with high production. So where you still need automation, but our strategy is to find, of course, to continue to offer our smart technology, and as I say, the smart lab, but moreover, to offer some specific solution for traditional, in order to, I can use, educate or help the rotomolder to move to transit from the traditional towards the automation. And that means, for instance, not only to be focused on the production of the plastic part, but even the, for instance, the loading of the material, to find a way to introduce automatization in that part. For the finished part, introduce some automatization. So complementary to the smart machine, we would like to offer some small package for automatization, even for traditional process, because the idea is that we are very sure that step after step you can it's not right to use the word educate, but transit the rotomolders from a simple traditional standard machine that is the comfort zone we all know, towards something that is more it's not that you have to introduce automation because you have to, but because you have some benefit. In the end, I'm pretty sure the transition between traditional to more automatization, it will be a plus even for the rotomolders.
Well, in this way, and maybe I'm making too far a leap or connecting dots that don't exist, but in this way, you can promote the rotational molding process to companies that aren't necessarily rotational molders, right?
Yes, sure.
You can say you don't have to be, quote unquote, an expert in the traditional rotomolding process to produce a hollow plastic part with the characteristics of a rotomolded product. You could be promoting the industry, the process, the benefits of to companies that would be attracted to the products, but not necessarily experts in the process. Is that a fair statement?
No, you are totally right. The problem is that not many company knows the rotomolding. So it's a loop. So we need to promote in university, in exhibition, because otherwise they don't even know about the technology. Honestly,
Sure.
sometimes some customer, they visit us because of automotive or medical department or automation. And when we run in rotomolding, they say, here I'm in the showroom, and they say, oh, really? We can do these things? So they are surprised and shocked. And honestly, this showroom, I love it because it's full of color or full of creativity. You can use your imagination and produce, I cannot say everything, but almost everything in rotomolding. So for architect and designer, this is a playground. Rotomolding is a playground, but the problem is that they don't know about the technology. So we need to work harder all together to promote the technology.
Thank you, Claudia. We are at 1 hour of time, and really very much appreciate your time and your insight, your commentary. Congratulations on everything that you've accomplished in your career and that Persico continues to accomplish. Do you have any closing statements about where you might see the industry going, what is on the horizon for you, for Persico? Anything that you want to share with us before we end today's session?
No, just an expression, never give up, or as we say here in Bergamo, I'm sure nobody will understand, but mola mia, that means never give up and try to always introduce innovation and be resilient.
Well, clearly, Claudia, your company Persico has been an absolutely positive catalyst of moving our industry forward. I think you occupy a very unique status in that regard. So from a general standpoint of the industry, I appreciate what your company has been able to do, and very much admire what you and the business continue to move forward. So thank you very much, Claudia, for your time today, for sharing your perspective, your experience, your thoughts, both personally and professionally. And Peram, if there's nothing else, we can certainly move to close.
I want to say you thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been our pleasure and privilege.
Thank you, Claudia. Very inspiring and insightful session today with the Tom together. Keep inspiring more people and also the technology wise. Thank you very much for doing this session today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Ciao, Claudia.
Ciao.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the session today. And on the Roto Leaders with Tom Innes, and our guest today is Madam Claudia Persico. I'm sure that you find this session interesting and also insightful for you. I look forward to welcome you in the future episodes with Tom Innes with another interesting and legendary leaders. Right, Tom? Yeah.
Thank you, Param.
Yeah.
My
Catch you
pleasure.
later. Bye bye for now. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.